Bernadette, and I'm here at the J Air Center, where in a little bit we'll be interviewing a few World War II vets. Right behind me is the B-17 Fortress, which in a couple minutes we're going to go inside and tour around and actually go on a flight. So it's going to be a pretty awesome day. I'm here with Charlie, a navigator in the Air Force of World War II. Now, Charlie, will you tell me a little bit about your experience in the war?
Okay. During the war, you mean?
Yeah, like as a navigator,
Okay.
how was that for you?
Well, after we finished all the training here in the States, our outfit went to a place called Deetham Green in England. And in that section, there were a whole lot of units like ours.
Okay.
So it was in England.
Okay. You told me that actually the Air Force had a different title back then?
Oh, yeah. It originally was part of the Army, and so it was a corps, that's a group. So at the beginning of the war, it actually was the Army Air Corps. That's what it was called when I enlisted. But then it grew so big that it became independent of itself, of the Army, and so it became the Army Air Force.
Now, when did that exactly happen?
Oh, God, I don't know. It might have happened while I was in prison camp, because it was in the process probably when I was flying.
Okay.
So that would have been probably just before the invasion by a couple years.
Okay. Now, I had a chance to talk to Charlie earlier, and he told me a very interesting story about General Patton. Now, will you tell us your experiences with him?
Well, you probably think, what would somebody who was flying have to do with General Patton? Well, most of us, I shouldn't say most, but an awful lot of us were shot down, and the prisoners were all being marched away from the oncoming Russian army. And, well, first of all, we thought that was wonderful that the Germans were so nice. They were getting us away from the Russians. And the one German guard who could speak English, he said, "Nein." He says, "The reason we're getting you away is when the Russians get here, if they capture you, they'll put a gun in your arm, and now you're in the Russian army." So they kept moving. So we ended up down near Munich, and we could hear General Patton's army coming towards us. And he had a reputation that many of the people remembered, and some of the generals didn't like it because he went his own way. As an example, when the Americans wanted to come up from Rome, from Africa into Italy to Yugoslavia, because the American higher-ups thought to beat the Germans we had to eliminate their income of oil, because the airplanes can't run without it, trucks can't run. So that was the idea, make the Americans come up through through Sicily and Italy. And the British were still in the war too. They had an army, so their army was coming down the other way, and their general was in charge of both of them. And he said, "Well, we'll go around Sicily this way." And Patton said, "No, we'll go this way." And they said, "No." He said, "Okay." Well, Patton was right. He got there about 2 days earlier and put up a big sign, "Welcome," whatever this British generals would do, kind of rub it in. But anyway, his army did come, Patton's army did come down from the south, from the northern part of Germany. And I met him that way.
That is so cool. You also mentioned to me that you were a prisoner in war. Now, can you tell us a little bit about what that was like and how you actually got there?
Well, we'll start with just to keep it in sequence.
Okay.
Well, we at that time had given up the idea of bombing ball bearing factories and so on. And the Germans had learned when they fought against the British, when they tried to cross the English Channel to get to England, they discovered the problem they had. England didn't have an air force as big or as good as the Germans, but the Germans couldn't win, and the reason being the English flyers, when they ran out of gas, they could land at the nearest farm because the farms are all made into refuelings for armament and so on. And the German pilot, he'd be over there, and if he was running low, he had to turn around and come back maybe 100 miles or more to get fuel and ammunition. So the Germans had learned that. They knew that if you wanted to have a successful invasion across water, you had to have control of the sky.
Yes.
Well, they started to keep their best planes on the ground with their best pilots and just send up the rinky-dinks. And they weren't always the best pilots, but they were good enough when they're in large numbers to hurt us. And we were now bombing Berlin. And the reason we did that was the Germans were keeping their best planes on the ground to save them for the invasion. And our guys said, we got to get them to be in the air so we can see them. So the bright ones said, well, let's bomb Berlin. We didn't bomb that before, so they said, let's bomb it with the full 8th Air Force. So that's what they did. And the idea with the Germans, they don't want Berlin being bombed because that was their big beauty. So they start sending their planes up. So we had big losses, but so did they. And it was on one of these missions that I got shot down.
And after that is when you ended up
Okay, yeah,
Yes.
well, I'm going in no hole.
Oh, okay.
You stick a nickel in me, you get $1's worth.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Continue the story.
All right. When the Americans succeeded in crossing because so many of the German planes had been destroyed, it really helped the infantry. They still had a lot, but not what they would have had. Well, the war front kept moving into Germany, and in Germany it started moving south. The Russians were coming in from the east, so they moved all the prisoners farther and farther south. And when we got together from the different camps, there were 60,000 prisoners, all moving south. And they put us in a camp right near the Austrian border down south. Mm-hmm. And I happened to be Catholic, and there was a priest had been captured somewhere. And as we marched south, the German people knew Patton was coming with his army. So they tried to become friends with us, so they would give you some food. Mm-hmm. and leave some note that they gave it, so when General Patton got there, they could show him that they helped us. Mm-hmm. So we get way down there now. It was a Sunday morning. Like I said, 60,000 prisoners. They weren't all Catholic or Christian. Nobody counted who or asked what you were. But this priest was going to have Mass about 8 o'clock in the morning. Well, we could hear the fighting maybe 30 miles north of us, and it kept getting louder and louder. And finally, the Germans retreated, and they were on one side of the camp, and Patton was on the other side, shooting right through the camp. Well, that was the end of the Mass, and we all took off to lay down somewhere. But then, pretty soon, we could hear the fighting's now on the other side. Patton passed our camp, and So everybody started screaming, boy, it's great. And we could see, there must have been a town right nearby, but with the forest there, we couldn't see, but we could tell it was a tall building because there was a big swastika was hanging out there. And we could hear the shooting going farther and farther down south, and pretty soon we could see the American bullets hitting the swastika, and then pretty soon you could tell somebody pulled the swastika in and put up the stars and stripes. Now we got some people have no respect for the flag, but to see 60,000 men almost crying because they knew something was. Yeah. So I was standing next to one of these 60,000. I didn't know him and he didn't know me, but we both came up with the same idea. We were right outside the barracks that the German used for an office, and all the guards were gone now. They didn't want to be captured by Patton. They're gone. So he and I went in to find our records that the Germans had of us. We're going through the filing cabinet. He found his and I found mine. And now, I don't know how many, let's say 30, 40 men came up with the same idea. And they're all in there now wanting to get at this file cabinet. And they're all talking, and when all of a sudden it got dead quiet. Not a sound. And I had no idea what happened. I just turned my head slowly. Hoy vey. Right next to me was General Patton.
Oh.
And he said, I came in here to get all the records, and I said, so I opened a button in my shirt, and I took it, and I stuck it inside. I said, he's going to have to fight for this bugger. And so he told us, he said, my army's going down. We're going to go all the way down the line. But I don't want you guys all trying to leave to go back because my army is coming. And you get out on the street, you're going to stop the army. It's progress. So stay in this camp until tomorrow. And he said, I'll have trucks and airplanes here to get you all out. And which was true. Some guys still said they weren't taking any chances. They're going, but the vast majority waited. And then trucks came down and put us on trucks and got us up so we could come home.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So then when we got home, and it was nice in my case, my mother thought I was just a kid out of high school, like many of the guys were. But every time there was a death notice, they through the Red Cross, the people in the States would get it, and I was listed as dead. And
Oh my goodness.
from the day we got shot down. And so it was a real surprise when she got a telephone call that I was coming home.
Well, that's honestly, that's a really truly touching story. Well, thank you so much for taking some time and sitting here with me and educating me on history. Have a good day, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you
for asking me. And I think it's nice that people like you do that, because there are so many people who really don't know what happened in that war, how it started, why it started, how it progressed, how things changed. Just the Air Force itself, the change. It started out as the Air Corps, and if you remember a little history, it was Billy Mitchell from the Air Corps who was the first one that attacked Japan. So, anyway, I'm proud of the Air Force. That's what I'm trying to say.
And you definitely relayed that. Thank you. I'm here with Bill, and Bill was actually an engineer in World War II on the B-17. Now, can you tell us a little bit about what your job required and what it all entailed?
Well, a B-17 engineer, like any engineer at that time, was responsible for a number of things. He had to transfer fuel. He most of the time stood between the two pilots to shout out the instruments the temperatures and different things like that. And if anything failed in the airplane, I had to try and either get help or go do it myself. For instance, if the bombardier doors would not open or close, I would have to crank them open or close. If the landing gear didn't go down or go up, if it was able, I would have to crank the landing gear up or down. And different things like that. We would also confer with the pilots before takeoff, checking the plane over exterior and interior, and to see if it was worthy of flight. And at this point, I have to say, we had fantastic ground personnel that worked on those airplanes. When you think about it, there was hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of those airplanes, not only 17s, but 24s and fighters. We went on missions that were anywhere from 8 to 13 hours. And for the most part, those engines continued to fly us and get us there and back, unless we had one shot up or on fire or something like that. But they are to be commended for the great job they did. So they're my heroes, those guys. And then the infantry that was in the Battle of the Bulge, Iwo Jima, those kind of people were my heroes, because in the Air Corps at that time we had beds to sleep in. We had a chow house we could go and sit down and eat. We could take showers. We had beds with sheets and pillowcases. And we were able to go on past into town. I mean, the poor GI in the trenches, the infantry guy, he wasn't able to do that too well.
Yeah.
So those kind of people are, I think, the ones that deserve as much credit as anybody else. And I had a great group of people. My crew was great. The name of the plane was Fertile Myrtle III. We were a lead crew. And as a lead crew, we weren't able to have any risque nose art. Our commander said, I don't think that would be good for the rest of the troops. So you guys can do whatever you want, but no risque girls' bodies. So we just come up with Fertile Myrtle III. We named the airplane on our way overseas from Gander, Newfoundland, on our way over to England, the 14th of April of '43. And on the way over, we didn't have anything more to do than chat on the intercom. And so we thought, well, let's name our airplane. And somebody out of the blue come up with this Fertile Myrtle. None of us knew a Fertile, a Myrtle. None of us knew Myrtle, but that's what the name of it was, and so that's what she became. And ultimately, we used 4 different ones. We had 4 different planes. So, and that's about the sum and substance of it.
You said you were on 2 really special missions?
Yes, we were on a shuttle mission to Regensburg, Germany. And ironically, that became my wedding anniversary 3 years later, August the 17th, 1943. And that was the first shuttle mission in the European Theater of Operation. And Colonel LeMay was with us in the right seat that day. So you can imagine what the rest of us were like on pins and needles with old so-called iron ass. That's what we call him. He was a great leader, though. He was the one that come up and designed the box formation that we flew in for maximum coverage of all areas with the guns in formation. And it was a great. Anyhow, he was in charge of that mission. He designed it, and it worked well, except that when we got to North Africa, we had nobody there. And the reason there was nobody there for us was that war down in North Africa went so fast that air base that we went to down there was completely evacuated. And he anticipated that trucks were going to be there for gasoline, and bombs and everything else. Well, we didn't have anything like that, so we got a bunch of Italian prisoners locally to come and help us pump gasoline from 55-gallon drums. And one of those B-17s took as much as 2,500 to 3,000 gallons. So we were 24/7 loading that thing up with just gasoline and bombs and ammunition. And we bought a donkey while we were there. And she come back in one of our planes in the radio room on the Miracle Tribe. And one of the guys who was on that was familiar with and became part of the oil well blowouts over in Kuwait. Boots and Coots. They were specialists in blowing out wells. And anyhow, he and that crew, for 400 francs, bought a donkey. Shackled her in the radio room, put an oxygen mask on her, and she made a mission towards Bordeaux, France on the way home. And that mission was successful. We really cleaned up and knocked completely out Messerschmitt factory. And what made it ironic was we didn't know that was there at the time, but we destroyed all of the jigs for the ME-262, which was their jet fighter. About 90% of their jigs were there, and we got those. So that was a benefit or a bonus of that mission. The other mission was Schweinfurt, second Schweinfurt mission on October the 14th, 1943, which was my 20th birthday. Unfortunately, we lost 60 bombers that day. 600 men was the price tag for it. And they call it Black Thursday, and I have a cross here with Black Thursday on. That was that for that mission. And however, we did do our part. It was to knock out the ball bearings that were being used for their airplane construction. But we only did about 45% of what we should have done. And it was one of those things where we were feeling our way along, young at war and so forth, particularly in the air. There were no fighters. The fighters left us practically shortly after we got past the Netherlands on the way in. And at that time, the P-51s weren't fixed up with the tanks that led them to Berlin later on. So we took a beating. And as a result, that's when they really put the emphasis on getting a fighter that would be able to escort the bombers to and from Berlin. That was the main object. And they ultimately came up with that on the P-51, and that saved the day. And we ultimately had supremacy of the air. We took a lot of serious casualties at Normandy and Omaha and those places on the invasion. However, there wasn't an airplane seen that day from the Luftwaffe. So we did our job as far as getting air supremacy. We had to have that or they wouldn't have had a good, safe, what I called a safe invasion. The invasion was terrible, but nevertheless, it was a lot less than what it would have been. So that's the only two missions that are outstanding in my 25 that I had. And
well, thank you so much
for
this and for your service.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
I shouldn't say my pleasure. I should say thank you.
I'm here with Ted, and would you like to tell us a little bit about what you did in World War II?
Well, I got inducted into service. Not inducted, I enlisted in the service. And I went to the Air Force, into the Air Force. And first I got into doing mechanical work on airplanes. Then they asked for any volunteers. They want to be in the radio. So I volunteered, says, okay, I'll get in the radio. And they shipped me to Madison, Wisconsin, where it's real cold. Then I became a radio technician. And from there we went to gunnery school. From gunnery school we went into flights with B-17 practicing down in Walla Walla, Washington. And from there, after finished training, we went into Scottsfield, Illinois, and we picked up an airplane there. We went to Bangor, Maine, and flew all the way to overseas in a B-17. And from there, started bombing Germany, and that was it. Had a few close calls. Hard to relate to them right now.
Yeah.
But our co-pilot got shot down with another crew. He had to go with another crew. He got shot down. He became a 18 months World War prisoner.
Oh my goodness.
And he kept a diary of all the days that he was there.
Really?
And I got that at home. His co-pilot's daughter still communicates with me. She calls me up, wanting to know how things are going and all that. All crews that flew with her dad. And Dad passed away, so she keeps calling me. Yeah. And that's,
Any interesting?
got out of service in 1945, and that was it.
That was it. So nothing.
was it.
So between all those years, nothing interesting
Raised a
happened.
family, raised 4 daughters, and that was it.
Thank you so much for taking the time and giving us a little bit of history.
Of my time.
Yeah. I'm here with Dan, who was actually an infantry soldier in World War II. Dan was telling me a few interesting stories. Would you like to let everybody know a little bit about what you did in the war?
Well, I was with the 79, the 313th Infantry, 79 Infantry. We landed at Normandy D+3, which is 3 days after D-Day. The beaches were pretty well secured, and we started our hedgerow fighting, which was, I have to say, very dramatic, because the hedgerows were so thick that we could hear the enemies talking on the other side of these hedgerows. We could hear them talking, but they were so heavy that our 50 calibers couldn't even penetrate it. Mm-hmm. So we needed support from the Air Corps. And so the Air Force helped us very much to get through the hedgerows. And we started our flight into France. We got into St. Lo, which was, we had to take St. Lo the second time because the Germans counterattacked us when we got into St. Lo. They counterattacked us, and we had to retreat from St. Lo. But we took it the next day. We took St. Lo again for the second time. And we got into Paris, and we got into a little bit of sniper fire.
Oh.
But it wasn't the Nazi enemy. It was the French girls were firing, sniping on us. You know why?
Why?
Because we chased their boyfriends out of Paris. Who at that time were the Germans. So they were mad at us because we chased their boyfriends out of Paris. It's true.
I believe you.
True.
That's a crazy story.
So that the village people would get these girls and they would bring them down in the middle of the street and shave their heads off, shave their hair for embarrassment. That was their punishment. Yeah, believe me.
Wait, who shaved their heads?
They shaved their heads.
Oh my goodness.
The village people would shave these girls' heads off because That was their punishment for sniping at
Yeah,
it.
I'm sure that was very unladylike to shoot a gun back then, too.
Yeah, that's true. Then we went on, of course. I ended up 3 miles out of Berlin. That's where the war ended, 3 miles out of Berlin. But that was after the Battle of the Bulge. Now, the Battle of the Bulge, I don't know if people can understand that. That happened, 70 years ago? The Battle of the Bulge, we had a straight line, front straight line, and the breakthrough was in Belgium. So the breakthrough was in Belgium, which that is called the Battle of the Bulge. So we attacked north, and the armies attacked south, and we pinched off their supply line. We pinched off the German supply line. I saw armies, German armies, in complete surrender because they were starving. We cut off their supply lines. They couldn't get gasoline to their tanks. They couldn't get food to their troops. So they surrendered. And that was pretty much the end of World War II. It was coming pretty close to the end. You could see the German army
It was just struggling.
was weakening,
Yeah.
and they were struggling. And so it was, the 79th Division was 3 miles out of Berlin at the time. We were told to dig in and hold our position, and then the Russians, the French, the English, and the American armies went into Berlin simultaneously so that nobody could claim that they were the victors. They were all victors. We were all the victors. So we got to meet the Russian army.
That's interesting.
Yeah, they were all surrendered at that time. But we all shook hands and traded cigarettes. And they liked our Lucky Strikes. They thought our Lucky Strikes were good cigarettes, better than their cigarettes. That's true. They liked our Lucky Strikes. They always said, "You got cigarette? You got cigarette?" They wanted our cigarettes. Yeah. So, after that, I re-enlisted with the American Army. I re-enlisted and stayed in Germany another year. And it was a good year. It was a nice year. I spent that year in Germany. We established for the incoming occupation forces. We established places for them and entertainment centers, and we entertained the incoming occupation forces. But by that time, the American Army, the regular American Army, was pretty well gone home because they started discharging, right after the peace treaty, they started discharging the American soldiers. The married guys went home first. They established a point system. They sent the married guys home first with children, married guys second. I was a single guy then, so I didn't qualify to go on that point system, so I re-enlisted. I stayed in Germany another year and had a good time.
What exactly did you do that next year? Was there any, I don't know, is there anything going on in Germany that was, crucial to America?
No. They respected us. They respected us with honor. The German people accepted us, and they received us with honor. And I have to admit, they treated us very well, very well. The girls would come and dance with us at our. Oh, sure. We were friends again. I mean, if the war was over, it was peacetime.
No girls shot at you that time? Said no girls shot at you that time?
The girls?
Yeah.
No more girl shooting.
Okay.
Those were the French girls.
Oh.
They weren't the German girls.
Just making sure that wasn't a trend. Alrighty, well, thank you so much, Dan.
No, you're so welcome, Melinda. What should I say? Can I close by saying I enjoy the Milano bread? Tell them who you are.
I am Sam DeBenedetti, and my dad owns Milano Bakery. Dan, this is what you...
Yeah, that's true.
I'm here with Ed. Now, Ed, you said you were in the Air Force in World War II.
Yeah.
What exactly did you do?
What did I do?
Yes.
I was a navigator on B-17s in the 401st Bomb Group, lead navigator.
Oh.
And I did that until the war ended. We flew missions. After that, I went into weather reconnaissance, staying into the Air Force. And we flew from the North Pole down to Azore Islands, all kind of miscellaneous projects that they had going. But most of it was just good weather, flying over the Atlantic Ocean. We'd take off in the dark in the morning from, say, Bermuda, and we'd still be flying at night when it got dark. Just getting all the weather information and radioing it back so the ships at sea and the commercial airlines would have something to go by. Got to be pretty rough sometimes in the hurricanes, but we got out.
How long were you in the Air Force?
I was in the Air Force 22 years, and then I stayed in with the government for another 20 years, and I had various jobs there. I was the base operations officer in Tokyo for a long time, and we had the Korean War going on and all that, so World War II was just a preparation for the rest of it.
Was there any specific point in war, like any memorable story that you feel like worthy of sharing?
What was I doing?
I said, is there any specific story that you would like to share with us throughout your war experiences?
Well, all I can say is my dad came over from Italy when he was 4 years old, and World War I came by, and he volunteered. My older brother was in college, a sophomore, when World War II started. He enlisted, was a Navy pilot. I was next when I was 18. I volunteered, went with the Air Force in World War II. I have a younger brother that did the same thing a couple of years later. So we just want to do our share, that's all.
It's a family tradition, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So other than that, why, tough to grow old. All you have left now is all the memories.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Ed.
You're welcome.
Gus was just telling me that he was in the Air Force in both World War II and Korea. What exactly did you do on those planes?
I didn't do anything on the airplane. I was ground crew. I was ordnance. We loaded the bombs in the airplane. And our job was at night with no lights of any kind, and it was all done by hand. And we used to finish up by 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning, and then we run the props through on the airplane, so when they had breakfast and went to bed. Most of the bombs we loaded were 500-pound demolition bombs.
Wow.
And we pushed them around on a bomb trailer with pinch bars and by hand, and then cranked them up by hand in the bomb bay, because the bomb bay only had one little light, about 2 watts. You could hardly see anything, and that was the only light that was around. You couldn't see that because the bomb trailer and the bombs underneath the bomb bay, they didn't allow any light to come out.
Wow.
And he's mentioning the fact that I also was in the Korean conflict, because I joined the Air Guard out of Midway with B-26 twin-engine bombers, but the only position they had was to become a cook, so I became a cook. And I ended up being the mess sergeant, and instead of sending us to Korea, they sent us up as a backup to Bordeaux, France, and I ran a consolidated mess hall there and fed 2,000 troops per meal.
Wow.
So,
Is there any like memorable experience that you have from this?
well, I have from World War II because about 2 weeks after D-Day, we were loading up 500-pounders, and you load up the bomb in the center of the bomb bay, the first bomb. And I was backing out, crouched down in order to go get the next bomb, and that bomb fell, hit my forehead, split my forehead open, and smashed my hand. And I woke up the next day in a 131st Field Hospital.
Oh my
I
goodness.
spent 30 days there until I was able to come back. And the Army Air Corps said that it was an accident, but a couple nights later the same thing happened to another fellow, only he wasn't so lucky.
Oh my goodness.
When I come back from the hospital, we had armed guards on the tarmac all times, and you had to know the password, otherwise we had orders to shoot to kill. So I don't really think it was an accident, otherwise they wouldn't have had the guards around.
Wow.
All these air bases didn't have any fences. You could walk off the base into town anytime you wanted,
Wow.
which most of the guys did anyway if they wanted to go to a pub. The Korean conflict, being a backup with B-26s in France, we really didn't get involved with them. And when the war dwindled down, then they come out with orders for you. You could go home if you had the points.
Mm-hmm.
Well, being a World War II vet, I had more points. I had enough points for a couple of guys. And then I went home and I didn't rejoin after that. So I got about 7 years in the military.
Oh, well, thank you so much for your service.
Well, I'm not the only one. There's millions of us.
Of course.
You know, I never had a childhood after high school because we were all going into service anyway. So I lost about 4 years of my life because of the war, but at least we took care of the
Yeah.
Luftwaffe and the Japanese, and anyway.
Well, thank you so much.
Brakes are set. What's the matter with you? Sometimes you gotta improvise.
Adapt and overcome.
Adapt and overcome. Heartbreak Ridge. East line. Aircraft forms are signed, parking brake is set, landing gear switch.
It's a neutral off.
plus traffic is the Fortress, about a mile northeast of your position at 1,900 eastbound.
S272 Joliet.
Lima Alpha, clear for touch and go.
Clear for touch and go, 27, 3 Lima Alpha.
Okay.
Fortress 17 November, traffic is assessed off the field about a mile southwest of your position at 1,900 northeastbound.
Inside 17 November.
Roger, thank you. November 572 Juliet Alpha, frequency change approved. Good day.
572 Juliet Alpha, thank you.
Lima's 3 Lima Sierra, frequency change approved. Good day. Frequency change approved.
You can give me 25 and 18.
Tower number 571 Juliet Alpha, holding short.
Please, sir.
27.
And cruise checklist.
Juliet Alpha, Aurora Tower, hold short, runway 27.
71 Juliet Alpha, holding short. Mike Bravo, turn left base now, 27.
November 8 Mike Bravo, roger, runway 27. You're cleared to land traffic, the Cessna on a quarter-mile final.
We have traffic and we're clear to land for 27 Mike Bravo.
Over there, so we'll stay out of their airspace. Oh, you're fine from them.
Juliet Alpha is clear to the northeast.
November 272 Juliet Alpha, frequency change approved. Good day.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
We give them about 10 minutes. Yeah, you're doing fine.
Fortress 17 November, frequency change approved. Good day.
Yeah, we'll be back in a few minutes.
Wind 270 F5. Lima Alpha, no observed or reported traffic to the south. Frequency change approved. Good day.
4 Lima Alpha, thank you. We're going to do the same too.
Approaches the U.S. landing and departing runways 9er and runway 36. Before departures, advise ground control of your direction of flight.
Wind 8 Mike Bravo, turn left at Alpha 5 and then contact ground 121.7 off the runway.
Alpha 5, 21.7.
Airport information, Delta 175.
Stay Delta. You think she'd give us for 27 with a little bit of an overhead for a left downwind? Yeah, I don't see why not. Or
Delta 1 Juliet Alpha, right turn to the northwest approved, runway 27, clear for takeoff, wind 270 F5.
71 Juliet Alpha, clear for takeoff, runway 27.
November 0 Alpha Mike, runway 27, cleared to land.
you mean go northbound and right? No, just come over 27 with a shallow left overhead, or left downwind, land 27 Alpha. Oh, go right straight in. Runway? Yeah, right down, come over. Or upwind to crosswind to downwind.
Thank you.
See what she gives us here. Fortress 5017 November is 8.5 east, southeast, inbound with Dixie.
Fortress 17 November, Aurora Tower, enter next straight in runway 27, report 2 out.
Want to do it overhead? Yeah, ask for an overhead to left downwind. Any chance for an overhead to left downwind for 27, Fortress 17 November?
Fortress 17 November, report a 3-mile initial for 27.
3-mile initial for 27, 17 November. There you go, bud. Thank you. At least I get some. That's all I can do for you. I know. In range, please. I'm working on that. I know you are. Briefing. Overhead left turn, shallow, not really, no more than 30 degrees. And for a normal, no crosswind, straight in 27. What you said. Yeah. Navigation equipment. It's set, sort of.
That's 3 Lima Alpha.
Flight instruments, altimeter.
Keep it in close to Fortress traffic.
Is triple 003. Transfer valves and switches, man. They're good. Hydraulic pump, it's auto, and we got 775. We got gas. Yes. Landing lights are on. And she wants a 3-mile initial.
And take 0 Alpha Mike, turn left on runway 15, left on Alpha, cross runway 36, remain on this frequency, advisor ready.
Left on 15 and cross 36 on Alpha, this frequency, 0 flight.
November 0 Alpha Mike, as you taxi off the front off runway 15, use caution for the moors.
Okay, we've got the mowers in sight, thanks, 0 Alpha Mike.
Fortress 17 November is 3 miles out initial.
Fortress 17 November, clear for the overhead approach. At or above 2,000, traffic is Cessna. On the touch and go on 27 will be in left traffic. Report right brake, wind 2704.
Understand a right brake at 2,000, 17 November. Change that up. Right brake it is.
Tower 3 Lima Alpha, just want to let you know this will be a full stop.
Was that for November 3 Lima Alpha?
That's affirmative. 933 Lima Alpha, we're on the upwind for 27. We're just going to make it a full stop. Call it a day.
Push it up.
Landing gear down, landing checklist, please, sir. Landing gear down,
Aurora Tower, 132.
I got a wheel moving. I got one moving.
3 miles to, sorry, not 3, 8 miles to the west.
It's always cute.
Lima 133 Lima Sierra, Aurora Tower to right, downwind, runway 27, report midfield, right downwind.
I verify all this is down and over center, transient lights out. Lights out, okay, oops.
And our 0 Alpha Mike.
Is it test?
Clear across 36.
November 0 Alpha Mike, affirmative.
Cross 36, 0 Alpha Mike.
November 1 Juliet Alpha.
Yours over center. Hey,
yes.
Matt.
Good day, 1 Juliet Alpha. Aurora Tower, November 32 Charlie Papa.
Coming around slowly here.
November 32 Charlie Papa, Aurora Tower, right turn to the north approved, runway 27, clear for takeoff. Wind calm.
I don't think I'm over center.
Remolds about 7 west northwest of field at 2,600.
About sir. I don't think the right gear is over center. Let's recycle it once, okay?
Fortress 17 November, runway 27, clear to land.
17 November, we're going to go out here and circle around a little bit and work on a problem.
Fortress 17 November, do you need any assistance?
Not yet.
Fortress 17 November, Roger, you're going to be circling to the north of the field?
Yeah, affirmative.
Fortress 17 November, Roger, traffic is a Remos. Inbound from the west at 2,800. Additional traffic is an extra departing the field. Northbound, advise if you need any assistance, please.
We'll do it. Okay, I'm coming down. Mid-transit's on.
Also 3 Lima Alpha.
I'm on the move. I'm on the move.
Runway 27, clear to land, 3 Lima Alpha.
November 3 Lima Sierra, traffic is...
It's this gear on this side, Matt.
Additional traffic is a Fortress.
It didn't quite get over center. I'm over centered.
2000.
That one got a green light. That time it did. Okay, good. Okay, that did not go over center before. It's good catch. Thank God for the light. And Tower Fortress 17 November, we got it all squared away. We're ready to land.
Fortress 17 November, roger. From your position into the right, downwind runway 27 and continue on the right downwind for 27. I'll call your base.
Okay, right downwind 27, 17 November. I'm kind of far out. I'm going to edge in a little ways. Far out. Yeah, I'm far out. Far out, dude. Huh, I wonder why. Over centered, huh? That micro switch might need some adjustment or something.
Aurora Tower, Cessna 9662, Victor's ready to go, runway 27 for the northwest departure.
November 62 Victor, Aurora Tower, hold short, runway 27.
Hold short 27, 62 Victor.
Okay, green light.
Cessna 3 Lima.
The transit's off.
That Charlie, taxi to parking monitor ground point 7 as you taxi.
Switch is off. Boost pumps are on.
Not Charlie, nice job today. We'll monitor ground point 7, 3 miles.
Oh,
Cessna 62 Victor, right turn to northwest approved, runway 27, clear for takeoff, wind calm.
Clear for takeoff, runway 27, 62 Victor.
November 2 Charlie Papa, frequency change approved, have a good day.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Aurora Tower, Aztec 900 Alpha Michael.
Hopefully before we get to the river.
Aztec 0 Alpha Michael, Aurora Tower number 2, hold short.
Hold short 270 Alpha Mike.
Fortress 17 November is looking for the traffic.
Fortress 17 November, your traffic is inside of you on the right downwind, continue please. And I'm trying to get a couple out before you. November 0 Alpha Mike, make right traffic, runway 27, clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, runway 27, right traffic, 0 Alpha Mike.
Fortress 17 November, you can start your base.
Start the base, 17 November.
Aurora Tower 133 Lima Sierra is midfield.
November 3 Lima Sierra, you able short approach?
Affirmative, 133 Lima Sierra.
November 3 Lima Sierra, make short approach, runway 27, clear to land, wind calm.
Clear to land.
So far out here, I got to use a GPS to find the field. Yeah.
Passengers are all secure, sir.
Thank you, Matt.
parking. Monitor ground point 7 as you taxi in. Have a good day.
Fremont Alpha 3, monitor ground taxi as a taxi to parking. 3 with a 0.
Roger, thanks for your help. Fortress 17 November, clear to land, wind call.
Clear to land, 17 November, thank you. Okay, final check, in transits.
In transits, green light switches in neutral, and I'll be getting full flaps here momentarily. All right, you can give me, let's go full flaps.
You got them. Here they come.
Aurora Tower 572 Juliet Alpha. We're about 10 to the west inbound, full stop.
Cessna 572 Juliet Alpha, we're retiring to left downwind, runway 27, report midfield left downwind.
Okay, we'll make a left downwind for 27 and we'll give you a show in midfield. 572
Boost
Juliet
pumps are on, flaps are down, switches off, and props to go.
Alpha Mike and number 2, follow the Fortress on quarter mile final, runway 27, clear to land, wind call.
Okay, you can start bringing them all the way in.
Cleared away in number 2 for the Fortress. We do have them inside 27. You're off, Mike.
Cessna 62 Victor, frequency change approved. Have a good one. I do show a target about 7 north of the field at 2,400 type unknown. I talked to him, appears to be heading westbound.
Work good.
Taxi
Mr. Victor, be looking for the traffic. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Fortress 17 November, turn left at runway 15 over the next intersection, and then contact ground 1-1.7 off runway.
15 will work, 17 November, thank you.
Tail wheel, thank you.
Ground Fortress 5017 November is clearing 27 on 15 back to the parking spot.
Fortress 17 November, Aurora ground taxi to parking via Alpha. Cross runway 18, have a good day.
Cross 18 via Alpha, thank you.
Yeah, I should have got the flaps. I should have got everything configured at 4 miles, and I waited to 3.
Oh, it would have been okay. I mean, it was okay.
Tail wheel, please.
Tail wheel.
Or airport information, Echo current altimeter 3003.
Right after landing, I believe you got it.
After landing is complete, sir.
All right, we cross 15 up, 36 up here. We'll be good. This is the only flight we have.
This is it. Watch all these flags and all this crap when they...
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm going to try to put it in the same spot, unless they played the game and moved everything.
No,
okay, 1836 is clear.
Yep, and you're clear to cross.
Thank you. Okay, well.
Just pick up the yellow brick road here.
Aurora ground, Skycatcher 900 Delta Papa.
Skycatcher at 900 Delta Papa, Aurora ground.
Make sure I don't hit that bonanza over there.
Behind the JA Air Center canopy, watching the bomber coming in. We have
clear on left, sir. Thank you.
And we'd like progressive taxi.
Well, first of all,
0 Delta Papa Roger, runway 27, taxi straight ahead, and on the ramp, make a right turnout, and I'll let you know
I'll pass
how
this
to get
guy.
to 27. What's your direction of departure today?
We'll be northbound to Casa de Oro.
Roger.
all right. If you want, you can give me 1,000, please.
Skycatcher 0 Delta Papa, do you see the Aztec aircraft? They should be passing left to right in front of you.
Yes, I see them.
Nice.
All right, they're going to be
straight
taxiing to
now.
runway 27, so just follow that aircraft and taxi to runway 27 behind them.
Need a little bit.
The Aztec,
Okay. Parking brake.
0 Adam Mike. 0 Mike.
Thank you.
Yes, follow that to Aztec, that's 0 Alpha Mike. They are
guess
holding
you
there,
didn't
but
want to
they are taxiing
put it in the shade.
shortly to runway 27. So just follow that aircraft.
9 Delta Papa.
Thank you, sir. Have you had that before, not over centering? Say that again? Have you had that before, not over centering?
No, I've never had that. That's the first time I've ever seen that. You know, they got those checkerboard marks on it.
Yeah.
On that. It almost would be better if it was a straight, steady line, I think.
A straight orange line
instead of a black
black line on an orange background.
Right.
Okay.
Ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, sir. You ready to start making your way out? Sir. Thank you, sir.
What, about 1,000 feet?
Yeah, about that. Would you like me to go in front of you?
I don't care.
Okay, I'll just go in front then. So your checklist, please. Stand by. Oops, hold on a second, sir. There's a lot of, can you, there's not a good footing there, sir. There we go. Now, you okay there? Okay. Good job.
It's off altitude.
What's your head here?
Off. Hydraulic. Off. Switch. Off. Batteries. Off.
Thank you. There you go. Good job. Just stay sideways if you want. There you go.
Shocks are in. Parking
There you
brakes
go.
released. Paperwork to go. Thanks, sir. All right. Well, at least that wasn't a thumper. No.
Well, Bob would be on you though for making a wheel landing.
I know. It was a little. It wasn't that much high.
No. It's hard. Sometimes, you know. It was a great landing.
Well, I didn't want to get them all the way up to the flag. And then we want the veterans over here in the shade. Stand under the wing, line them up under the ceremony, and you're on. Great. Is that a good flight? I know you know how to get on. Down right over here in the shade. Hey, Charlie! Hey, Charlie, you see any flak up there? Flak. Flak. No shooting. None of those farmers were throwing cowboys up. I got you. Charlie. Welcome back. Welcome back. If you'd stand under the wing in the shade, they want to have a ceremony. No. Welcome back. They wouldn't listen to my SOS. Oh, man. If you'd stand in the shade under the wing, they're going to have a ceremony. There you go. Beautiful. You can see where you were. Beautiful. We made it. Thank you. Thank you. And if you'd stand under the wing of the shade, they want to have a ceremony and you're on it. You got it on the ladder.
Theater man.
Just stay with them for a few weeks.
Rubber bands, I'll tell you that.
They got some good rubber bands in there, boy. They got some good rubber bands in there, engine.
I thought he was going to pass up the way it is.
That was good. I was right up in the nose. I could.
Oh. That's the best.
Yeah, I could read the name on those oil tanks.
That's the best.
That's something the Japs couldn't do.
He's still kicking.
Oh, I know. Hey, he's way up there. Come over under the wing in the shade. They'd like to have a ceremony. Grab it. Good ride?
All right, you guys.
Yep, I'll get some more.
Hey, Richard. Hi, Richard. Hi, Richard. Thank you so much, Richard. Thank you.
Gentlemen, on behalf of the American Legion and all America, we proudly honor and salute you, because if it wouldn't been for what you've done, you started the modern military. You made things happen, and you were the example for all those who served after you to follow. You were the leader. You made this country great, and those after you, because of what you did, were able to keep it great. Gentlemen, I salute you. Thank you. Rifle squad, hip, hip! Flagmen, half color, half staff.